Hi, this is Manali Paspula. I am going to discuss some important achievements of Osborne Reynolds. Osborne Reynolds was an innovator in the understanding of fluid dynamics. He was born in Belfast, Ireland in the year 1842. In the year 1894, he orally presented a paper on turbulence to the Royal Society. In 1895, he actually printed the paper and submitted it for review. It's an incredible paper. Not only it does introduce the Reynolds decomposition, which of course contains the Reynolds equation containing Reynolds stresses, he actually introduced the concepts of mass weighted averaging, always including the density under his integral sign when when working out mean quantities. This was not widely known at that time. I guess that the fact that he only studied water, that this aspect of his paper wasn't attracted attention hasn't attracted any attention in the past 60 years before the person that that's usually credited with the mass weighted averaging. He also provided the first derivation of the turbulence kinetic energy equation and the mean kinetic energy equation, showing that the product of the Reynolds stresses and the mean velocity gradients basically represented to transfer from the mean motion to turbulence. To give you an impression of how far advanced of this time this paper was, the corresponding scalar transport equation was only published by Stan Lawson 50 to 60 years later. He went off to referees with his work, and at that time, Lord Rayleigh was the editor of the Proceedings of the Royal Society. He sent the paper to Sir George Gabriel Stokes. Stokes then replied to Lord Rayleigh, as you can see in the figure, that I find it very difficult to make out what author's notions are. He himself considered it as of much importance. I confess that I am not prepared to endorse that opinion myself. However, Rayleigh tried to avoid providing a review of this sort, so Rayleigh became rather impatient and decides to get the view of a younger professor, Horace Lamb, who starts out with a statement. I think the paper should be published as containing the views of its author on a subject which has to a great extent created. He then goes on with the phrase as you can see on the screen. Much of it is obscure and there are some fundamental points that are not clearly established. And he follows it up with 3 pages of handwritten detailed criticism. Well, Osborne Reynolds, his response was that he was very glad to know of these difficulties and the opportunity it affords him of improving the paper. He then, having carried out clarifications, he added 5 extra pages for clarification, and finally, the paper was accepted in the year 1895. So, this was a very great paper, and and the rest is history. So now you can, this is how the Reynolds apparatus looks today. Until 2012, it was used by every undergraduate coming through the University of Manchester Mechanical Engineering stream. It still functions today and is used to demonstrate experiments to guest professors. Reynolds published about 70 in science and engineering reports. Areas covered besides fluid dynamics includes thermodynamics, kinetic theory of gases, condensation of steam, screw propeller type ship propulsion, turbine type ship propulsion, hydraulic brakes, hydrodynamic lubrication, and laboratory apparatus for better measurement of Joule's mechanical equivalent of heat. For his work on lubrication, he was named as one of the 23 men of tribology by Duncan Dawson. He died of influenza in the year 1942. This is the last photograph of Osborne Reynolds with his student and staff at the University of Manchester. Thank you.